We're doing it live, folks. I'm not put together right now, and I'm not even on drugs. I wish I was on drugs because you know what every apocalypse needs? Drugs. And you know what tends to happen in the apocalypse? Everybody runs out of drugs. That's what makes it an apocalypse. There's no drugs. Is that what it is? There's no drugs in this apocalypse. Anyways, guys, as the title says, it's bad, real bad. Um, I don't know how to put this. So it's we're basically all fucked and we're all gonna die. All right. I'm trying to soften the blow for you, but I just can't because it's all fucked up. Like a lot of people out there, hey there, war is hell. Yes, it is. I don't have words for how bad shit's gonna get. Like, and this ain't a speculation thing. This isn't me making predictions or anything like that. I'm not reading the tea leaves. I'm factually, there's shit that has already happened, but it hasn't hit us yet. It's like, oh, I just thought of the perfect uh, analogy or whatever you call those things. Not a metaphor. So, how bad we're fucked. It's like when there's an earthquake and you're way far away from the earthquake across the ocean, so the earthquake doesn't bother you. And then, like 5 hours later, the tsunami gets you, but you can see the tsunami way before it gets to you. You know, like the earthquake surprises you, and then the tsunami does not surprise you. You're just like, yep, we're fucked. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's how fucked we are. The earthquake already happened, and we are looking at the tsunami. Um, Now that's the metaphorical way of putting it. So for details, um, details. Trump has started a dirty nuclear war. Um, they're bombing all the nuclear reactors in Iran, and Iran is responding by bombing the nuclear shit in Israel. So we're in a dirty nuclear war currently, like as we speak. This stuff's already happened. Censorship is really bad out there, especially on the Israel side of things. Um, a lot of censorship. So we really don't know how bad it is. Everybody's saying that there's no radiation leaking happening anywhere, but nuclear facilities are getting bombs dropped on, and we're not talking like little pissant Napoleon bombs from the good old days. We're talking the big Johnny bombs are falling on these nuclear facilities all over the Middle East, from Iran to Israel. And if it hasn't happened yet, it's with as many missiles that are getting shot off at nuclear facilities. It's really just a matter of time until we have a big, dirty meltdown somewhere in the Middle East. All right. So that's happening. It might have already happened, but because of censorship, we wouldn't know. They'll hide that from us until the three-eyed fish shows up. Um, Hector, hi there. I haven't heard your name in here, I don't think. So just saying hi. Um, Iran already destroyed the Middle East's ability to produce sulfuric acid. And I'm not having the Google up right here, but if you look up sulfuric acid and what it's used in industrial applications, what you'll see is sulfuric acid is used for refining metals, uranium, and I'm not sure about aluminum and steel, but there's a lot of metals that need sulfuric acid to refine them. And so the Middle East no longer, which the Middle East produced, I think, between 20 and 25% of the entire global sulfuric acid production, which means that those facilities are all blown up. And we're about to get hit with like a 20% reduction in sulfuric acid, which means all global industry, all the factories are going to have to reduce output because there's no sulfuric acid and there's not going to be as much refined metals coming out. And on top of that, Iran and Trump started it, of course, and blew up an Iranian steel mill. And so Iran blew up a bunch of fucking steel mills across the Middle East yesterday. So there's sulfuric acid, the metal factories themselves are getting blown up. And as you can see, there's refineries and oil storage facilities blowing up all over the Middle East right now. If you want to see videos of this stuff and my actual news feed, I'm using Facebook right now. I'm totally shadow banned, but my link to my Facebook is in my YouTube description. So you can go over to Facebook, and I post a lot of videos and news from the World War III we're happening to be in right now. All right. So a bunch of other stuff's been blown up. And even if it wasn't blown up, it's blocked because Iran's not letting them through the Hormuz Strait right now. Is propane, and the refineries for the propane got blown up too. And then the boats can't even travel. They're stuck in the Persian Gulf. They can't deliver the propane. And what I'm trying to tell you is right now, it's spring, and spring is when farmers are planting the crops that'll later be harvested in the fall. Okay. And the bad thing about America is we are, when it comes to agriculture, we are monocultured retards, which means we don't rotate our crops, which means our crops all require massive injections of fucking fertilizer. All right. And our fertilizers are made out of propane, natural gas, whatever you want to call it. Right. And so without that 20% of natural gas that used to come out of the Middle East, there's a global fertilizer shortage right now. And none of our farmers have enough money to buy the exorbitantly expensive fertilizer. We also have sanctions on Russia where we're not allowed to buy things from Russia and Belarus, which guess what? Outside of artificial fertilizers that are made with petroleum products, there's the natural fertilizers, and the world's largest suppliers of like potash and other fertilizers, they guess where they come from? Yeah, Russia and Belarus, who we currently are not doing commerce with because America is an evil, racist moron. So America, Trump totally fucked our entire crops by pissing off everybody on planet Earth and wrecking the shit out of everybody on planet Earth that actually makes the fertilizers our nation depends on to grow our food. So we're just the summary of that is there's this year, early next year, this winter coming up, we're probably going to be in a state of famine here in the whole earth, but most Americans don't give a fuck about anybody besides themselves. So all you Americans out there, you're fucked and you're going to be in a famine. And so, I mean, you can look at the upside of that. Most Americans are overweight. So you're going to be losing some weight this winter. Yeah. Yeah. So that's happening. That's another way that everything is really, really bad. Let me think. I've covered a lot of stuff. And also, it's really bad because we live in a propaganda Nazi shithole that we call America. And your news is not telling you how bad it really is. Like how many of our military people and things have been blowing up. Troop losses are probably in the high hundreds, if not multiple of thousands. In the past month that Trump has been fucking up America beyond recognition and making the whole world hate us. Um, there is a not telling you how many of our dudes are getting blasted to little tiny pieces and turned into little red clouds of mist, getting their limbs blown off, getting concussed and blasted into walls, probably through walls. Er, just everybody's getting blown up in the Middle East. If you're an American, yeah, it's written by the government. Well, it's written by the lizard people and the CIA and Mossad and what other euphemisms you have for all the rich assholes that control everything in America. Them, those people. I usually just call it the CIA for shorthand, but the usual suspects. Yeah, everything's a lie on our media. Everything from Hollywood's a lie, and everything on your American news is a lie. Everything's a lie. Remember, if you go back a couple videos, live streams I've put out, I put out like the list of rules for America. Like if you listen to creepy pasta stories on YouTube or the internet or read them on Reddit or something like that, it's always these stories that are like, I got a job and it came with a strange list of rules. Well, if you're born in America, you came with a strange list of rules. And rule number one is everything is a lie. Literally everything. No exceptions. It's all a lie. And just so you know, but there's a list of rules for living in America. Rule number one is everything is a lie. But yeah, with how many of our troop barracks and hotels and like Iran's targeting not just our airplanes and our radars, Iran's blowing up the buildings that the soldiers are sleeping in and working in. All right. So, and I don't know if you've noticed, but a disproportionate amount of missile launches happen at nighttime, which is when more people would be sleeping and not going out getting lunch and shining boots and doing PT. They'd be sleeping if they're not on shift. And so, like, Iran is blowing up the barracks where all of our soldiers sleep in the Middle East. And there's satellite pictures from China of all the barracks buildings that Iran has blown up in the Middle East. And I'm just telling you from the number of buildings and sleeping areas that Iran has blown up, there's like at a minimum hundreds and up to a ceiling of, at this point, after a whole month, like several thousand dead Americans in the Middle East that Trump and your government are lying to you about. And they're like, oh, there's only 6 or 8 dead. No, it's hundreds. Okay. Conservatively, there's hundreds of dead Americans because of Trump in just 1 month of war with Iran. All right. There's already hundreds of dead. And Iran's shooting and blowing up on average 1 American airplane per day. All right. And like I said, we are 30 days into this war, and I'm pretty sure we've lost about 30 aircraft. The majority of those are KC 135 refuelers. We've lost between 10 and 12 of those. Iran says 10, but I really think it's 12. All right. And the Iran blew up just the other day, AWACS type of airplane. What was the initial threat to? The question is, what was the initial threat to us from Iran? And the answer to that is there was no threat from Iran. Iran chose not to suck dick, and that is the way Trump started bombing them because they would not submit to domination from the American Nazi Empire. And so Trump started shooting at them for not submitting. So, yeah, so there was no threat from Iran until we started murdering their national leaders with missiles. For real. Yeah. So that's that. Um, This is a war of domination. Trump wants to dominate somebody like the whole earth. And so he thought he could dominate Iran, and Iran shot Trump in the face and America with a shotgun all over the face. Yep. That's all I can say. But airplanes, we've probably lost about 30. I know we've lost a minimum of 10 KC-135s. Those are the air tankers, like, when the fighter jets are getting refilled while they're flying. That's what the KC-135s are, is the refillers. And we've lost 10, most likely 12. Like I said, Iran says 10. And that's all satellite documented, okay? We've lost a minimum of one F-35. I think it's actually two, but it might only be one. That's our most expensive jet, basically, our newest one. We've lost at least one FA-18. We've lost 5 or 6 F-15s and at least 2 F-16s. And like I said, the Air Command Center airplane that has the big radar dish thingy on top of it, we lost one of those the other day. We've lost 2 aircraft carriers so far. The USS Gerald Ford, which actually was not disabled by Iran. The Ford was sabotaged by the sailors on the boat 2 times. The first time is they disabled the sewer. They sabotaged the sewer system, and the entire Ford aircraft carrier was basically one big floating shit box, a literal shit box, and there was shit everywhere. And they got all the shit cleaned up. And as soon as they got all the shit cleaned up and they got the shitters to work on the boat, somebody set the laundry room on fire, and the laundry room fire spread to the entire crew quarters where the sailors sleep, and it burned out the bunks for 600 crew members. And the Ford is now down and disabled for probably 1 to 2 years, is what they're saying is how long it'll take to fix that boat. And then you have the USS Lincoln, which is now hovering like 1,000 kilometers away from the coast of Iran, because every time they get within 1,000 kilometers of Iran, Iran shoots missiles at the Lincoln. And over the past month, the Lincoln has been hit 4 times between drones and missiles. And there's a lot of censorship. They're out at sea, so there's nobody that can like record the stuff, and nobody on the Lincoln is leaking any videos of what's happening on the Lincoln. So all we got are reports, and the reports is that the Lincoln is fucked up like a football bat. It's been exploded 4 times. I think at least once by a boat drone, and one time by aerial drones, and then like 2 times with missiles. So the Lincoln has a bunch of big ass holes in it, and a lot of people think the boat drone hit the Lincoln in the rudder, which means the Lincoln is probably getting towed around with tugboats and shit out at sea, because it's very likely that they don't even have an ability to navigate if the rudder got blown up, or the prop, the screw, whatever those goddamn big ass boats have on them, and whatever sailors call those parts of the boat. I think it's a screw and a rudder. But they got blown up, most likely. And it's got a big old hole in one of the runways. And it's all blown up. So Trump's sending the H.W. Bush aircraft carrier to replace the shitbox Ford. So here in the next week or two, we're probably going to be at a point where Iran has disabled 3 American aircraft carriers out of our entire fleet of 11. In 1 month, Trump will, in like just a little over a month, Trump will have lost, if he sends, well, he is already sending it, not if, the Bush aircraft carrier to fight in Iran, It means, and every single aircraft carrier we send there gets hit. Okay. So there, if it gets sent there, it will get hit. And that means a third aircraft carrier is going to get damaged and be put out of service for multiple years. All right, folks. And we only have 11. In fact, they just, like, literally the USS Nimitz, one of our old ass, ancient ass original aircraft carriers, it was getting decommissioned like a week or two ago. And literally, as it was selling its last voyage to go be decommissioned and sold off for scrap, the Pentagon extended the life of the USS Nimitz literally on its last voyage. They're like, nope, you can't retire. This rust bucket must keep fighting. So they're going to be putting the USS Nimitz back into service because Iran is blowing up all of our aircraft carriers. And our super newest aircraft carrier that was supposed to be completed soon, well, it's not finished and it's not ready. So that's also a shortage of aircraft carriers. Um, a couple of our Navy supply ships got blown up, probably sank. Is a good time for China. That's always a good question there. Um, and there's a lot of speculation on, like, okay, so I'll shift to that. Here's something new that it's funny that nobody in the American media is talking about this because I'm seeing it. All of my sources are Russian sources. They're like independent Russian journalists, uh, Russian veterans that are running Telegram channels, active duty soldiers running Telegram channels, government sources on Telegram. But it's all Russian, okay? Because Russians, to tell you honestly, do the best. They're the best journalists on earth right now. They do the best journalism when it comes to covering global news. The Russians are on top of global news. They're the best. All right. But anyways, Russians are pissed off at their government. The Russians are all pissed at their government. They're starting to get pissed off at Putin. They won't say they're pissed at Putin, but they're pissed at Putin. They're pissed at their Duma. They're pissed at all their fucking generals. Since this Iran war started, Russians are becoming ever increasingly pissed off at their fucking government for being little bitches. And they want Russia to fight the way Iran is fighting. And they're not. And regardless of why Russia's not doing what Iran is doing is not important. What's important is Russians don't like being the diplomatic little bitches and they want to fight. And they're pissed at their government because their government's holding them back and they want to fight. Also, Russia is building a case against the Baltic states as being a party to the conflict in Ukraine because the Baltic states, that's Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia, they're allowing Ukraine to fly drones in their airspace to attack Russia. And Russia has proof of this, and they might invade the Baltics and crush the shit out of them, which, because, they can. And then China is sitting there and looking at America spend all their ammunition. Trump has blown through America's entire arsenal. Like, we thought Biden was bad. Trump is absolute worst. Whatever scraps of ammo was left over from the Biden administration, Trump spent it all on Iran. It's all gone. And that's not just air defense. He's using up all of our Tomahawks. He's using up all of our really big bombs, the free falling bombs, like the JDAM type of shit. He's using up all of those, using up all of our air defense. Everything's getting blown up. The radars that Iran is blowing up in the Middle East, these aren't like Radio Shack radars. These radar arrays take a long time to make. Like, some of them, only a dozen exist, and Iran's blowing them up. All right, so Iran's blowing up years and years of fucking manufacturing time of some of our military equipment, like the radars, the aircraft carriers, the fighter jets. These things take a lot of time and money to build and produce, and we're in a war of attrition with Iran, and we're losing because we cannot replace the shit Iran is blowing up, which means we're losing bad. And yeah, and then China's like, America's out of ammo. So what's keeping China from hitting Taiwan? America ain't got no ammo. Our Navy's all tied up getting the shit shot out of it over there in Iran. So why not? So it's very likely that China's going to move on Taiwan real soon. There's another part of this. South Korea don't have no air defense no more. Trump already, this happened like 2 weeks ago. One or 2 weeks ago. Trump pulled out all of our air defense systems, the THAAD and the Patriots and stuff out of South Korea, and he moved it all to the Middle East. So South Korea now has no American air defense capabilities. It all got sent to the Middle East. So what's keeping North Korea from going down south and whooping some ass? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And like, so when I tell people like it's bad, real bad, I told people it's World War III. It's just like not all of the dominoes have like fell yet, but everything is there to say it's going down. All right. Like, let me explain this to you. If like on the school ground and you have the school ground bully and he flunks every year, so he's been like in the grade school for like 10, 20 fucking years or some shit, he still hasn't graduated, and he's like 25 in 5th grade, and that for 20 years the schoolyard bully has been dominating and kicking the shit out of everybody on the playground. And then, so like when you see that quiet kid in class and he just gets tired of the bully and he starts welling on that big ass motherfucker and kicking the shit out of him, the whole rest of the world is like, we got the bully's busy. He's getting the shit kicked out of him. And they're going to go settle some scores because the bully's not there no more. You know? So yeah, everybody's going to be kung fu fighting. You know? Everybody's kung fu fighting is what's happening in the world today. But guys, there's going to be a famine and there's going to be a complete collapse of the global economy, and commerce is all coming to a screeching halt this year. It all the supplies and supply chains have been severed and cut and roasted. Yeah, it is. It is totally. Is it up there? No, they're not covering shit all. The censorship, like the Jews are Nazis. All right, Israel is Nazis, and they're literally. There actually has been video of the cops terrorizing journalists and random people with phones at the site of missile impacts, and they're not telling you shit. But yeah, like I said, Israel's getting leveled with the ground. It's Israel. Also, if you go to my Facebook page, it was like maybe 1 to 3 days ago. I don't know. I put out a thing. The IDF itself, one of the generals in the IDF, already said that their military, their ground forces, infantry and tankers and shit like that, they're on the brink of collapse because Lebanon is laying waste to them all. Okay, it's yeah, they're laying waste to the Israeli ground forces. Literally thousands of Israeli ground forces have been slaughtered by Hezbollah in the past couple of weeks. All right, Israel's getting wiped off the face of the earth. from multiple directions. And Yemen just declared they're entering the hostilities. And Yemen marching in there, throwing fucking long range missiles right out the goddamn gate. All right. So yeah, like everybody's kung fu fighting is the long and the short of it. But here in America, for all of us civilians back here, there's going to be a famine this winter. There's obviously a fuel shortage already. There's obviously transportation is expensive. Manufacturing, after everybody uses up their stockpiles of sulfuric acid, manufacturing is coming to a screeching halt. And so that's happening. Yeah, they do. Yeah, no, that's the other thing. People, you know how Israel be out there crying about war crimes and shit like that? And they're targeting civilians. Here's a fun fact. If you look at the Israeli constitution and their laws and shit, yeah, the prophecy of the Neverwhere Ranch. If you look at Israeli law, like their constitution and shit, there is no such thing as the Israeli civilian. 100% of Israeli passport holders and citizens are in the military as reservists. 100% of Israeli citizens are subject to conscription and putting into military service, the women and the men. So there literally is no such thing as an Israeli civilian by their own law. They're all reservists. Every Israeli is a reservist in the Israeli military. So when you see Israel out there complaining about war crimes and shit, just remember there's no such thing as an Israeli civilian. They're all military targets. Every baby, every grandma, every old man, every blind person, everybody in Israel with an Israeli passport or an Israeli birth certificate is an Israeli soldier by Israeli law. So there. I'm just telling you, if there was such a thing where nations still went to court instead of bombing the shit out of each other, like the evidence would be put forward that everybody in Israel is a soldier. So therefore, nobody is, no matter who you shoot in Israel, you are not targeting a civilian. That's a fun fact. Yeah, but so I quit smoking like about 5 days ago now, and it's difficult, and the world is throwing me curveballs, trying to make me fall off the wagon. It's hard, but I'm using the snooze packages. You see, I got doop doop doo doo. I got these 12 milligram Johnnies, and it's nicotine pouches, not snooze. And so I'm using that because I need to learn how to live life without a smoke because there's 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 the habit of smoking and then there's chemical addiction of nicotine, which are two totally different things. The chemical addiction only takes 3 days of willpower to power through and quit. Oh, cool. Hey, dude, what's up? Yeah. So I'm using those. And then after I've adjusted to not smoking, I then I'll try to quit the nicotine pouches. Puppy, what's wrong? It's not time. Go sit down. Is something on fire? Nothing's on fire, right? Yeah, no, okay, we're good. We're cool. Boots on. No, they're not going into Yemen. They're going into Iran. Um, but yeah, I got that right. And then I just found out today that our water heater is leaking, but the part that needs replacing is only like $5. So the hard part is the doing it. It's like a 32-year-old drain plug that I got to get out of there and then put the new one in. Putting the new one in will probably be easy. Taking the old one out is the not easy part. So I got that I have to fix. The battery in our van is going bad, but slowly, and it's still working right now. But that's like $230 for a brand new van battery. that I have to get really soon. Yeah. So life's, rough. Anyways, so I quit the smoking. I haven't had soda for like 2 months. I quit soda. That was the first thing I quit. And I started drinking regular water because I buy water now instead of using the tap water. And it makes better coffee and better malto meal. Just so you know. Um, but yeah, so I quit the soda and I quit um smoking. And yesterday I started running again, and I feel like a fat piece of shit motherfucker right now. Okay, because I'm old. I'm in my 50s and I'm ex-military, and I haven't been in the military for like 20 fucking years, right? It's been, well, maybe not 20, but no, 50, about 20 years. And in the past 3 years, I've been living on the ocean. We haven't been traveling, so I'm like way more sedentary. And I've just ran to fat, and I'm fat, and I'm out of shape. And yesterday, I went and did a 2 mile run, and it took me 12 and a half minutes per mile. My run time is pathetic. It's 12 and a half minutes. All right. And my legs are still hurting. And I only ran 2 miles, and it took me like 25 fucking minutes. That's fucking pathetic. I am an out of shape motherfucker. All right. But I learned that yesterday morning, and now I'm doing running again, and I'm going to get in shape. But I was funny. We were at the grocery store today. I was just, dude, did I tell you this shit? I'm going to show you some shit. This is a side quest here. So we had to go to the grocery store today. And, because Trump tariffed everybody and the whole world hates us, chocolate got really fucking expensive. All of our food's getting really expensive. But chocolate's really expensive. Good enough by Ukraine standards. Anyways, the grocery store has a markdown bin, and these have been in there for like a month. And they wanted $3.35 as the markdown price. And for a month, nobody bought them. And then today, I go into the grocery store and bam, they marked them down to $1.60. $1.60 for a fairly good sized chocolate bar, milk chocolate, right? It's just plain milk chocolate. It's one of those foo brands with all the liberal labeling on it. You can see it has all the liberal label shit. It's a bunch of liberal crap, right? And but it's just plain. No, it's really good chocolate. But it was marked down $1.60 a bar. So you know how many of those I got? 20. I don't know where it's made. I think it doesn't matter where it's made. It's probably made somewhere. My vision ain't too great. Uh, I think the sticker is over, no, where it's made at. Yeah, it's covered up. So I can't even tell you. Specialty food. But I got 20 of those. So they're out in the freezer. So we're stocked up on chocolate. They also had sesame, they had tahini in the markdown bin. And a can of tahini, regular full price at the grocery store here, is like, I think $13. But it was sitting in the markdown bin for a month and marked down to like 11 something, and nobody was buying them. And I go in there today, the tahini was marked down to like $6 and change. So I got 3 cans of tahini for like 6 something a can. That's a pretty good deal. You know what tahini's good for? The replacement for peanut butter to start with. If you want peanut butter sandwich, try making one with the tahini instead of peanut butter. See if you like that or not. But also you can make baba ganoush, and hummus is what tahini is used for. And I'm going to have to look up recipes that use tahini because I got 3 cans of it. All right. So, I mean, I got a score. And guys, when we're surviving the apocalypse, you got to know how to bargain shop. I'm kind of horrifying. What's your YouTube name? Because all we have on YouTube now is the at handle. You know, I'm not little. I'm a 190-pound fucking tub of fat right now, but I'm running 2 miles every other day and I quit smoking and I'm getting my fucking kung fu fighting skills all brushed up on. It expires in 10 days, man. So yeah. Anyways, we got a comedian down here in the chat. Hi there, comedian. The Stein. That sounds like a real Jewy kind of name. Are you a Jew? The Stein. You sound like you might be a Jew. Anyways, yeah. That's what I got. Everybody, you should like, share. I don't care if you share and subscribe or like, actually, if you should subscribe at a minimum though, because most everything is a lie. And I'm one of the few people out here that's telling you anything factually accurate. How many DUIs do you have? I have 0, Mr. Hayward. You're anything but the chosen people. Well, I'll temporarily forgive you for being an asshole then, since you're not a Jew. So there's that. But yeah, I'm trying to do more live streams because, like, I don't know, civic duty. Like, somebody needs to, like, I'm so censored and shadow banned. It's just fucking stupid. In fact, I have no clue how new people are even finding me at all. So, welcome to the show. Thanks for watching. Tell your friends, tell your family. I'm Lou Hammer. I'm the gonzo journalist of the apocalypse. And like, share, and subscribe. And I hope I see you all come back next time. That's unless, there is no next time. There probably will be. See you all later.